In this video, we're going to talk about how to subset a list. Subsetting a list is really more similar to subsetting an atomic vector than it is to subsetting a matrix or array. To illustrate how we subset elements of a list, we're going to create a simple 4-element list with named components. So we use the list function here. The first element of my list is just the number 1. The second element of my list, B, is the vector 1 through 2. The third element of my list is named C, and it is the vector 1 through 3. And the last element is named D, and it's the vector 1 through 4. So I store that as a list object named A. And to subset elements of a list, we simply append square brackets with a vector IDX, where the IDX vector indicates the indices of the elements we want to extract. It can also be a logical vector indicating the elements we want to extract if it has the appropriate size. So in the example below, we're going to extract the first and third elements of A. So I have the vector with the elements 1 and 3, and then I append that within square brackets to the list A that we want to extract the elements from. So I do that, and you can see that I get A and C because A is in the first element of my list and C is in the third element of my list. So we did get the elements that we expected when we used this operation. If we wanted to use a logical vector to subset the second and fourth elements of A, we have to pass a vector with the same number of elements in the list. So we have 4 elements in our list A, so our vector needs to have length 4, and I have false, true, which means that I want to select the second and fourth elements of A, so I pass that logical vector in square brackets after the name of the list. I run that and I get B and D, which are the second and fourth elements of A. Since the elements of our list are named, we can actually use a vector of character strings to indicate the elements that we want to subset. So if we wanted to subset the elements C and D, then we can pass the names of those elements in a character vector, and within our square brackets after the name of our list A, we run that and we get C and D just like we expected. So those are 3 different ways of easily subsetting parts of the list A. However, sometimes we want to extract a specific element out of our list. In that case, if we're not just subsetting our list, but instead actually pulling the element out, then we have to use double brackets appended to the list name in order to extract that element. So if we do double brackets and then have I there, that's going to extract element I out of our list. So for example, let's say we wanted to extract the second element of A. We use the double bracket notation here. We have 2 inside the double brackets. We append that to the name A. We run that, and we get the vector 1, 2. So instead of getting a list where the list has the element 1, 2 in it, we actually get the vector 1, 2. So we've actually pulled that element of the list outside of the list to get a different data structure. Compare that to what we would get if we only used a single bracket and put 2. In that case, you see that we get the element B of our list. And so this is actually a list. This is still a list. And the only element in that list is a single vector with the values 1 and 2. So when we ran this command, we got an atomic vector, an atomic numeric vector of length 2, whereas when we use this syntax, we actually return a list of length 1, and that single element is the numeric vector 1 and 2. One final way that we can extract information from a list is that if we have a named list, we can use the $ operator to extract a specific element out of that list. This is sort of like how we used the $ operator to extract columns of a data frame out of the data frame. So in the code below, we're going to extract the object in element C, or with the name C, of our list A that we've previously defined. And just like this syntax right here, we're actually pulling that element out of the list, and whatever is in that element is what is returned. It's not returning a list in this case, it's returning that numeric vector.